pull away. Just gonna do a check and make sure everybody can hear me. So by way of the stomping on the floor method, oh, you're not even gonna let me finish? Wow, it's gonna be one of those nights, I guess, eh? Oh, welcome aboard, everybody. We're about to get going here. So before we get too far away from the pier, I would just like to welcome everyone on board. This is our second ship of the season, so welcome. Our second ship of what we're being told is going to be about a 340 ship season this year. A little bit down. I think we're 15 ships below what we had last season, but still lots of people coming to visit us here in Victoria, which we love. So my name is Leroy. I will be your driver and guide, much to the chagrin of a few people upstairs, clearly. But I will be your driver and guide for the next, we're going to be on the bus together for about an hour and a half. And then as part of the tour, we will be making a stop. So our stop downtown, just so that we can get everybody downtown when everything is still open. The stop downtown will be approximately an hour, and it will happen here at the beginning of our time together. So we're just going to make our way downtown, and then we'll stop as close to the Royal British Columbia Museum as we can. And we will synchronize our watches when we do stop, and you will have an hour to make your way around downtown, and then we will all reload. We will get on the bus together and do a city tour through downtown Victoria. So is this this cruise? Where did you guys come from? You guys haven't not from Alaska. Did you come from California on this one?
Seattle.
Oh, Seattle. Okay. So where does the ship head? Where's the ship going? Oh, it is in Alaska. Okay. Last week the ship wasn't coming from Alaska. So that actually is about, I want to say, probably 95% of our cruise business here are ships returning back to Seattle from Alaska. So just the ship last week wasn't part of the Alaska itinerary, so I just wasn't sure. So your ship tonight will be making its way through this body of water here to our right. So this body of water, and if you look across the body of water there, you can see all those lights. So this is the Strait of Juan de Fuca. This strait is only 26 miles wide at its widest point, and all those lights that you see over on the other side, so that those lights there that you see just to our right there, those are the city lights of Port Angeles, Washington. So just on the other side of this Strait of Juan de Fuca is a very large mountain range called the Olympic Mountains. And that mountain range, and just on the other side of the water, that is all Washington State. So that's how close we are to the United States here in Victoria. So where you are right now, you are in the city of Victoria. We are the capital city of the province of British Columbia. So that Strait of Juan de Fuca, that is, so your cruise ship will go through there and around those Olympic Mountains, and when you wake up in the morning, it'll be back in Seattle. Does that trip quite slowly over the course of the night while you guys are all sleeping. We actually have a ferry here in Victoria called the Clipper that does that very same trip. It leaves from downtown Victoria, so in behind us, I'll actually point out the Clipper terminal on our way back to the cruise ship terminal later tonight. And so that the Clipper is a high-speed catamaran. It takes foot passengers only, and it does that same trip that your cruise ship will take all night doing. The Victoria Clipper does that trip in 2.5 hours. So we can get from downtown Victoria to downtown Seattle in just a little over 2.5 hours. And then we also have a second ferry called the Coho, which is a much larger ferry. It takes vehicles as well, and it just goes directly right across the strait over to where we see those lights to our right over to Port Angeles. So we actually have 2 ferries here in downtown Victoria that take us over, across, or through the strait. We, a lot of us here in Victoria, we do enjoy going down to Seattle, especially me. Your driver and guide is a 40-year Seahawks fan, so I try to get down there at least once a season. I usually take the Clipper because it goes right into downtown Seattle, and then go and watch my Seahawks beat up on the Cardinals or the 49ers or the Rams. Usually at this part of the tour, I get lots of booing, and I can tell who NFL fans are on board the bus. And if I get any Rams or 49ers fans, their tour usually becomes a walking tour very quickly. So as we go along here, have a look out the left side of the bus. So you will see this sign here. It says mile 0, if you can read that. So that is one of 2 mile 0 markers that we have here in Canada. So we have one here in Victoria, British Columbia, and then the other mile 0 marker is all the way across the country, some 5,000 miles away in a city called St. John's, Newfoundland. And the mile 0 markers, what they indicate or what they mark are the beginning and end points of the world's longest stretch of highway, the Trans-Canada Highway, which does stretch for over 5,000 miles. Wow. And to our right, we have a very large, this is the largest public park in all of Greater Victoria. So this one is called Beacon Hill Park. And Beacon Hill Park was a very large parcel of land that was given to the city of Victoria by the Hudson's Bay Company. So before we were a city here in Victoria, we are the capital city of the province. And so when we get downtown, I'll point out we do much like state capitals in the United States with their capitol buildings. We have our own capitol building here in Victoria. It's called our Legislature Building, and we will see that once we get downtown. But before we were a city, what was here back, it was built in 1843. And it was a Hudson's Bay Company trading post, a fur trading post called Fort Victoria. And so Fort Victoria, like I said, the actual walls, the fort itself was built in 1843. And the fort actually lasted. It was here for 21 years. But by 1864, the city of Victoria started to grow up outside the walls of the fort. So they no longer needed the fort itself, and so the fort was taken down in 1864. And as we go around and through Beacon Hill Park, you can see it is lit up a little bit at night. It will be tough to see wildlife out here at night, but I will slow down and stop if we happen to see. So we've got many free-range peacocks that call Beacon Hill Park home here. And if we have any around that are trying to cross the street, I will point them out as we go by. So when the Hudson's Bay Company handed over this very large parcel of land to the city of Victoria, they actually put some conditions on the city for the land's use or the park's use. So as we continue through the park and as we go around, you might notice there are no fences or gates around the perimeter of the park. So that was the first rule that the Hudson's Bay Company put on the city of Victoria. They were not allowed to gate or close off the perimeter of the park in any way. Beacon Hill Park was meant to be used by not only the citizens here, but visitors to the city at all times of the day or night. So you can come into Beacon Hill Park any time of the day or night. Parking is all free inside the park. So that was the second condition that the Hudson's Bay Company put on the city when they handed over this large parcel of land. So the city of Victoria is not allowed to generate any income from anything that happens inside the park's boundaries. So in this park, there is a large band shell. Lots of different concerts and things go on and happen there throughout the year. All of admission into anything that happens inside the park is all either free or by donation. And if you have a look out the left, you can just kind of see its shadow there out the left-hand side. So that is the world's tallest freestanding totem pole. And it was, when it was first carved, it was carved out of one singular log. It was carved by an artist, by a carver, by the name of Chief Mungo Martin. It's no longer in one singular piece anymore. They had to take it down a few years ago to do some restoration work to it, and in order to make sure it didn't break, they did have to take it down in pieces. So Beacon Hill Park, like I mentioned, the largest park space or green space that we have here in Greater Victoria, actually got its name from this small hill that's here to our right. And we have a flagpole at the top of that hill. Not really sure, doesn't look like there's a flag flying on it at the moment. But what they used to do up there at the top of that small hill is they would light a fire up there, and that fire would be a beacon. It would act as a warning to any of the ships out here. There is a very rocky coastline all the way along to our left there. So we are going to make our way past. You may, I know it's a little tough, these night tours make it a little tough to see everything unless they're totally lit up. But just on this green space to our left, where I pointed out the mile zero marker, see if you can see a statue. You probably will just be able to see it silhouetted just to our right of the mile zero marker. You can see hopefully see a statue there. You can actually, I can see the base, but on top of that base, on top of that cement base, is a Canadian hero, a young man by the name of Terry Fox. And so Terry Fox, back in the early 80s, he got cancer, and the cancer took his right leg, and he decided, as a teenager, he was quite young when he made the decision to not let losing his right leg or losing the cancer, or let the cancer keep him down or hold him back. And so he chose to make a cross-Canada journey. And he called his cross-Canada journey the Marathon of Hope. And the reason he called it the Marathon of Hope was every day he would run the equivalent of a marathon, so 26 miles or 42 kilometers. And he started in his home, which was in Ontario, the province of Ontario, and his plan was to come all the way out here and dip his toe in the Pacific Ocean. Now, unfortunately, very early on in his Marathon of Hope, the cancer returned. He had felt quite ill and had to take a break, and it was discovered that the cancer had returned, and he shortly after he did lose his life. He did lose that his battle with cancer. But in the nearly 40 years since we lost Terry Fox, the Terry Fox Foundation still holds runs in his honor every year. School-age children run around their school fields and raising money and awareness for cancer research. And the Terry Fox Foundation has raised well in excess of $150 million in his name since his passing. So he is a true Canadian hero. On the right-hand side, you can see the lights around it. You can actually see a fountain out in the middle. So this is Goodacre Lake. This is a man-made lake right kind of in the heart of Beacon Hill Park. You can see the bridge in the background there. And if you look really closely, you might just see the outline of a log here close to us. So during the day, that log, if we were to drive by here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you actually wouldn't even be able to see any of that log. That log is completely covered in turtles every day, out sunning themselves. And that's actually here in Victoria. That's how we tell how nice a day it is here. I actually have driven by that lake on some summer days, and there has been one day where I have counted 34 turtles out on the log sunning themselves. And here in Victoria, we would call that a 34 turtle day. Coming up on the left is our region. It's actually British Columbia and Western Canada's oldest still standing schoolhouse, built in 1895. This is South Park Elementary School, not to be confused with the other South Park Elementary School, the one on TV, the one I guess on MTV. We do not have Kenny or Cartman going to school at our South Park. We're going to make our stop. I'm thinking we're probably not going to get a spot in front of the museum. So we are going to park. We're going to be a little bit different. We are going to park in front of the Crystal Gardens building. Gardens building is here on our right-hand side.
Here comes the totem.
The old spaghetti factory.